Hello and welcome to episode 66 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mao.
And we apologize for missing last week, but in that time that we missed, we have beaten two different games in between the two of us.
And the thing is, they are recent games.
Recent games! Jeff! Look at us being up and current.
Yep.
Those two games, of course, are Spider-Man. Jeff beat Spider-Man, and I just beat Shadow of the Tomb Raider today.
I didn't just beat Spider-Man, I platinumed it.
He got that plat.
First one.
He's growing up. He's growing up. And Jeff also played a lot of Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah.
And we will be talking about all three of those. That's going to be the main topic of today. We're just going to let loose and talk about these games that we've been looking forward to for so long. So we're going to try to kind of speed through a little bit of news. There actually wasn't a whole lot of news that we missed in the 2 weeks.
It also helps for us getting through the news that we did a live reaction and discussion to the Nintendo Direct. We got a couple little follow-up things and extra news added onto it. We're going to discuss beginning of the news, but yeah.
But overall, if you want to see our live reactions and just us have a discussion over all the stuff that happened in the Nintendo Direct, you can find that on our YouTube channel. We have a timestamp for when the discussion starts.
And we're planning on having timestamps to jump to each game, Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, and Dragon Quest.
So we're excited. This should be a good one because we have a lot of actual recent games to talk about. We're actually we did our job. So, Jeff, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the news. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. Okay, so yeah, first thing, like I said, we're just going to talk about a couple of Nintendo Direct related things.
Yeah.
Pretty much. First thing, as people know, Isabelle was announced in Smash.
Yes. Isabelle from Animal Crossing.
Yes. There was talk about whether she was an Echo or her own character, blah, blah, blah. When we did our discussion, we looked on the site and they had her as her own unique character. So she wasn't an Echo, at least.
Right.
So what it seems to be after watching more gameplay footage and all that kind of stuff and hearing some more stuff is that she seems to be an old style, what we would call semi-clone.
Right, she has some similar and some pretty much the same moves as
and then some that are completely different. For example, we now know her side B is the fishing pole.
Yeah.
People thought that might have been her grab, but her grab, based on the character trailer, the 20-second one they put on every single character's page on the website, is the net villagers.
Right.
And then there's stuff she does the pocket villager, her balloons are not exactly the same.
Doesn't she? But she drops something in there's she has that move where she her rutting smash thing is her dropping a pot when villagers is potted plant. Right.
And for a difference, the down B for Isabelle, her planning a gyroid thing or whatever, that little mushroom man thing.
Yeah, I've never
fire hydrant looking man thing, and it flies in the air when villagers is playing the tree and hitting her with the axe.
Right. So similar but different.
I'm actually interested in trying out Isabelle because those changes make me think I might be better with her than Villager.
Yeah.
Because I love trolling with the side B for Villager.
Yeah.
We're riding the little thing, but not the most useful thing in the world. And as much as hitting someone with a tree is satisfying, it doesn't happen often.
Right.
So doing the whole up thing will probably work better, and it's kind of hidden, so you can use it like a landmine thing.
Yeah, she might have more utility, and I'm interested in the fishing pole and seeing how it actually works. Because if it is something where you can bring them close to you, that could be you get set up.
And GameXplain's analysis, it looked like she was able to throw the fishing pole farther than someone, and then bring it back, and it'll hook people on the way back.
That's cool too. That's cool.
And stuff like that, you can hold it there and stuff like that. We don't know exactly for sure because it's just based off the little footage we have, but sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And this is just a little extra information. In the Direct, there are a bunch of Final Fantasy titles announced for the Switch, and it seems about all of them except for I think the Chocobo title maybe, and I want to say Crystal Chronicles.
Okay, yeah, I would be surprised if Crystal Chronicles was one of them.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the Xbox One.
Right.
So Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, 10-2, and 15 and 12.
That's a big deal. That's a lot of Final Fantasy games that Xbox has never gotten, and it's going to a entirely new platform. Nintendo, that hasn't been on Nintendo, and now Xbox too.
Yep, big deal for both.
Very big deal.
And some Switch Online information came out, so we're gonna get into some more negative news. I don't know if you heard this stuff, Darty. they clarify that NES games can only be played up to 7 days offline. You'll need to connect online again to play them offline. So what that means is you gotta get on the internet at least once a week to play your downloaded NES games.
Which is really, really dumb. It's like, I guess they're just aggressively trying to fight, I guess, like, piracy or, like, stuff. I mean,
I guess they're thinking of this as,
it's like a DRM type thing. I mean, it's...
making sure people are playing the, they are still on the thing to play their games. Still weird.
It's...
I don't know how it works with, I mean, I'm not defending this in any way, but I'm just curious how it is with PlayStation and Xbox One with, PS PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold stuff when you're off the internet and your subscription.
I'm pretty sure if you have, as long as you have a subscription, you have it downloaded.
I know, but I mean when you're off the internet, so you're not online to...
Yeah, I mean, I think you can, I don't know, but I think you can still play them. Like, okay. I think you can be offline. I think there's been... I feel like there's been times where, like, the internet wasn't working, or we were at our beach condo that doesn't have internet, and, like, there was no lock out of...
Oh, no, I agree, but I wonder if you don't never go back on the internet, you keep it, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, because I don't want to be hypocritical about it.
It's one of those things where this is dumb, but there's also one of those things that will never probably affect us ever.
No, but it is dumb, and it's also one of those things that will probably make, if there was someone who was already, like, thinking about emulating something, and they're like, oh, wait, I could do this, and then it's like, oh, no, there's this dumb rule, and all right, well, screw you, I'm going to emulate it anyway. Yeah. It's weird. It's, again, it doesn't affect me all that much. I'm probably going to be online, but who knows? You might go on a trip, and you're just not online all the time, I agree. It just seems needlessly, restrictive.
Now, let's go to something even dumber, Darby. Cloud saves will be deleted if you are unsubscribed from the service. This is different from how it is handled on Xbox One and PS4. Cloud saves are free on the Xbox One, whether you have Xbox Live or not. And while you need PlayStation Plus for cloud saves, they are saved 6 months after you're unsubscribed from the service, and obviously they're fine if you subscribe again within that time period. Yeah,
but with the Nintendo system,
if my understanding on this, if you let it run out accidentally and don't have it set up to resubscribe, they're gone.
Then all your cloud saves are just gone, even if you pay it back into the system.
Based on my understanding, yes, because there's no, based on what we know, what they said, there's nothing grace period like for PlayStation Plus, which there should be.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say exactly how long it should be, but
something
instantly gone is
at least give me a few days.
Yeah.
Something at least. No, seems like another situation where it's like Nintendo doesn't completely know how to do this stuff. They really, it's like pulling teeth. It's like so hard to get Nintendo to completely understand how to have an online system.
Yep.
The way that it needs to work, when literally all you have to do is look at your competitors, just copy them.
Yep.
Just do the same thing that they're doing.
May not know exactly everything because they're charging much less, but if you can do the same things they're gonna do, at least do it up to the standards,
right? Like, not to make it so obvious that you're the outlier here that doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, love Nintendo in so many ways, but it's consistently their online services and stuff leave a lot to be desired. Where are you at in this? Are you getting this? It's out now, right?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna wait, partly for multiple reasons. Wait till I want to do an online game before I start doing this.
Yeah.
And honestly, to talk to you guys if we want to get in on that family pack.
Plan. Yeah.
Because even if we just get it with me, you, Alex, Olivia, and Julie, if they're all in, that's only $7 a year.
Yeah. It sounds like there's really no reason not to.
Yeah,
because
from what I've seen, there is absolutely no downside. So
might as well.
Yeah, might as well do that.
We'll see. I mean, like, I kind of hate that Nintendo. I don't know. I kind of hate that Nintendo's basically gonna be able to, like, get by with having an inferior service just because you're like, but it's cheap. And it's like, yes, that's true, but also, can we have a good service?
Yeah, I feel like it'd be much different if people's perception of it. If it wasn't for the whole offline thing for NES, probably another thing I'm forgetting about, and the whole cloud save thing. Honestly, the whole the old games being free for it, at least right now, I'm like, whatever for that. That's one of those things where I'm like, but it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Compared to getting the newer games for...
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Again, this is dumb because you are saying you're doing the same thing as your competitors, but you're doing it much worse.
Much worse, yes. That's where the problems have come to me.
Okay, and while there's also Nintendo Direct last week, we had a Sony pre-TGS conference.
Yes.
And good news for us, Dory, as far as content, TGS starts in a couple days.
Hey!
Yep. And we'll probably start getting announcements soon.
Probably.
Yeah. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I haven't even stopped to think about what that could be.
Yep.
From TGS, but
probably nothing too crazy, but we'll see.
7 remake? No.
Okay. We're gonna go through a couple points for Sony's thing, but first we're gonna talk about what was, I think people can argue, was the biggest announcement.
I think so. Yeah.
This comes from Joe Scrolls from IGN. The new IP from Yakuza creator Toshiro Nagoshi is called Project Judge and will come to the West in 2019. Teased as a completely different game from the development team behind the Yakuza series, story and gameplay trailers make that seem like something of a stretch. Like Yakuza, this is a narrative action game punctuated with brawler combat and ridiculous minigames. Unlike Yakuza, you play lawyer turned detective Takayuki Yagami attempting to unravel a string of murders connected to one of his past cases. Alongside the familiar elements of Yakuza, the game also features investigation sequences in which you identify suspects, tail them, and take pictures, where Pokemon Snap-like rewards attached for better images. It's clearly a major element of the game. Sega refers to Project Judge as a courtroom thriller. In Japan, the game is called Judge Eyes, but the Western Project Judge implies that it may be renamed upon Western release. The game will be launched in December in Japan and will come to the West in 2019. Japanese players are able to play the demo right now.
Yeah. So I do agree. Like, I kind of agree that, you know, it was a little like misrepresented by saying it's going to be something like completely different, because it's very obviously like using Yakuza assets and stuff, and a lot of the
I don't know the stuff. It's apparently in the same city.
It's I think it takes place in the same universe as Yakuza and stuff like that. There's probably gonna be like references and everything. So yeah, saying that something completely different than Yakuza is probably not completely accurate. That being said, I think it looks like a lot of fun, and it also, I think I was talking to Jacob, so I'll kind of throw Jacob's opinions onto this podcast.
Kind of wish he was here.
I do too, but we'll get him on here for this. But I mean, I think he was even talking about, like, yeah, they could do something completely new, which would be exciting in its own right, but also, like, we know that they know how to do this type of game. They know how to do this type of combat in the Yakuza game and everything like this, and just with it being a completely different game, it kind of, like, opens them up to, like, explore a bunch of different other things, which this trailer looks like it was doing so many different things.
Honestly, this has me very excited because... we've talked about, especially with Jacob here, me and you warn against the Yakuza game, but it's very intimidating to get into a 7-game series. But with this, even if it is similar, it's from the same people. This is an easy entryway for me and you to get into.
And it'll be a standalone thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm more likely to probably play this game as long as it ends up being good, which I don't doubt it will be good.
No, it looks like goofy fun.
Exactly.
It looks very...
And just the general story looks more interesting to me than...
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty interested in Yakuza, but we'll have to see. Like, it looks like this game has a lot of heart. Game.
So
again, it looks like it'll make Yakuza fans. I feel like Yakuza fans will enjoy this a lot, and it'll be... I get why some people might have been like a little bummed. Right. But I think what you got looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So. And it's coming out next year in the West. It's going to be out.
And that's the other thing is, if this was a completely new thing, it would probably have taken an extra year at least to develop, maybe 2 years. And the fact that they were able to reuse a lot of Yakuza stuff also means you get the game sooner. So.
Also, just like the way they announced it's like, hey, it is out. By the way, it's coming out this year. Oh, also, you can play it right now.
Right now. It's really cool. Yeah.
Really, I like it. Cool. So, we will definitely be talking about that game as we hear more.
Yes. With Jacob.
Yes. Okay, we're just going to go through the main at least what I thought was the main things from the pre-TGS conference for Sony. Cygames showed off Project Awakening. This game is apparently already announced. People saw it behind closed door, I think, at E3. But I think this was the first public look at Project Awakening.
Yeah. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it's from a setting standpoint is nothing we haven't seen.
No,
or we've seen a lot.
Yeah, but I thought it was a well put together trailer.
Yep.
And
looks pretty.
yeah,
Dragon thing looks cool.
The assets, like the actual monster and everything, looked cool. The combat system, just from the little bit we saw, interesting.
Yes,
they have my interest.
Yep, we'll have to hear more because that's literally all we've seen as far as I know. Next thing, we got a new Kingdom Hearts teaser trailer thing with the full trailer coming tomorrow at the time of recording. So if this is out, the trailer will be out, and I'll probably end up talking about that next week. I'm excited. But for this little teaser trailer, did you see this one, Darby?
I did not.
They showed the Big Hero 6 world finally.
Okay.
So that looks really good, and yeah.
Yeah, we had not actually seen that, right? We just heard that was a thing.
That was like the second world announced.
Yeah, I knew that was announced forever ago, but yeah.
Yeah, so.
Cool.
Besides, see if they announce another world in the full trailer. Or whatever they do. Kingdom Hearts VR experience, whatever, was announced for this year, and it is free.
It's free. Looks bad, but it's free, so it's
Yep, I will play it. Now we just need to discuss, sorry, if we just want to record a short Let's Play of me.
Yeah, man. You'll be so hyped. It'll be beautiful. It'll
be
me
swinging around the Keyblade.
Adorable Jeff, so
okay, then wait for that end of the year. Because YOLO. Okay, we got a first look of the game from Studio Istolia, which was set up by longtime Tales of series producer Hideo Baba. Which art style looks very pretty and everything. The walking animations were janky.
Were pretty bad, yeah.
But I was reminded, I think, by the Easy Allies of this fact. And we talked about the news of this studio being formed. That was last year, Darby. So this game has only been developed
very early. Yeah. Like, that walking animation probably still needs some time to cook, and it probably will cook, I imagine.
You can argue that this... And this is a Square Enix game, by the way. You can argue that maybe this shouldn't have been shown at this point, especially if it's this early.
Or just show me those pretty scenery, and I'd be like, hey, that looks like a pretty art style. Yeah. Moving on.
But it's so early. There's not even a name. That's not even like a project. Blah blah blah. It's just there.
Isn't that like? Don't a lot of these like JRPGs get announced like way early like that though?
Yeah.
But.
Stop it.
We'll just have to see.
Oh, wait, it's Square. It does announce early. What am I thinking? Another announcement that hyped people. Samurai Spirits, a new entry in SNK's Samurai Showdown series, was announced and is coming to PS4 and maybe other consoles. I should have double-checked on that. In 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really cool. It looks like, as everyone says, Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, it's like Samurai Street Fighter.
Yeah, with blood and gore and all that stuff. Yeah. And there was a girl with an eagle partner and a guy with a dog.
I'm always interested in a new fighting game with a like new kind of like art style ish, somewhat new. I mean, it's obviously very inspired by Street Fighter, but
and they teased at the end. Stay tuned for more. So we might see more stuff at TGS.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, and something else that was pretty big. Left Alive got a new trailer and got a February 28th release date.
Where are you at in Left Alive?
I am very interested with the people behind it and just the general tone.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and I might have missed a lot of stuff. I feel like we haven't seen much from it.
I only remember, was it Game Awards?
No, I think it was.
What was it? Was it TGS last year?
I think it was TGS last year. It was either that or I don't think it was Paris Games Week.
Paris Games Week. That's what it was. I knew it was one of those like shows in the latter half of the year. Yeah, it was Paris Games Week. Yeah, that's the only time I remember seeing it. But it looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A little generic looking, but I mean, like, we'll see.
Yep. We'll have to wait and see. But we don't have to wait that long. It's going to be on in February. No. We got to show other stuff.
Another February.
Yep. Okay. From Software VR game Deracine got a November 8th release date and not a new trailer. They just showed flanked out the exact same trailer again.
That's weird.
Just added the release date at the end.
It's a pretty good release date for it. Play it over winter break. Play it over Christmas.
I'll wait to hear how it is and then go on.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Astrobot in a couple weeks, Darby. I just remembered.
Ah, okay.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I'd be down to play some of that.
Yeah. Space Channel 5 VR was announced. Do you know when the world Space Channel 5 is, Darby?
I do not.
Oh boy.
Are we gonna have to look up Space Channel 5? Is it that important?
It's a big deal for some people.
Okay.
And from what I can tell, it's just straight up the game, but in VR. It's a Dreamcast game.
Okay.
And
weird.
It's like a rhythm game thing with dancing and lasers and robots and aliens.
Dreamcast
and
game.
it's the main character.
Of course. Looks great.
I think she was in Project Cross Zone.
Okay.
And
but
screenshot of Let's Play and weird robot people or
That's like
really
a weird upskirt shot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this is a Sega game, I think.
But you know what's maybe a little more interesting to me? Everybody's Golf VR.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure that would cost too much money, but like Everybody's Golf would probably be fun. That would probably be fun in VR.
Now, my main thing is, and this is something I've seen people bring up a good bit, is for move controllers, when you point them down, is not always the most responsive. Of course, it depends how you had it set up, but still.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's one of those things, yeah, it could be fun, but definitely one of those things I need to hear what...
It wouldn't be worth the price if it was too bad.
Yeah.
No.
I need to hear some Brandon Jones opinions.
Yes. All right, so yeah, that was the pre-TGS things. You stay tuned for whenever TGS happens.
Yeah, pretty solid showing. The way they, showed everything off was weird.
Yes, very weird, but very Japan. Very Japan.
Yep. Okay, now we're talking about everyone's favorite subject, loot boxes.
Everyone loves the loot boxes.
Darby, you think I should just read these two? Just
straight through.
Okay. These are two related stories.
You got this. It's a lot of reading me. You got this.
Yeah. Okay.
Strap in.
Yeah, might have to take a water break at some point in the middle. But anyway, the first thing comes from Matt Wales from Eurogamer.
Orange slices and Heisey.
Yep. The Belgian government, which declared loot boxes to be a form of gambling earlier this year, has reportedly launched a criminal investigation into EA after the publisher refused to modify FIFA's randomized card pack loot boxes in order to comply with the country's gambling laws. Back in April, Belgium's Gaming Commission determined that loot boxes found in FIFA 18, Overwatch, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive were an illegal game of chance and thus subject to Belgian gambling laws. Failure to adhere to these laws, which include ensuring that minors are unable to access the gambling elements from the game, is illegal. Following the ruling, Blizzard, Valve, and 2K Games all elected to disable loot boxes in their games in Belgium. EA, however, has done nothing, and as a result, according to Belgium publication Metro via Google Translate, is now the subject of a criminal investigation by the Brussels Public Prosecutor Office. If it decides to prosecute, the case will go to court. The Belgium government's gaming commission considers loot boxes to be a game of chance because players don't know exactly which items a box may contain when purchasing it. EA, however, says otherwise, stating in April that its games were developed and implemented ethically and lawfully around the world, and that it did not agree that its games could be considered as any form of gambling. This, said EA CEO Andrew Wilson in May, is because players always receive a specified number of items in each pack, and because it doesn't provide or authorize any way to cash out or sell items or virtual currency for real money. And second story comes from Hayden Taylor from GameIndustry.biz. A survey of over 7,000 gamers has found important links between loot box spending and problem gambling, undertaken by the Australian Environment and Communications Reference Committee. Yeah, by the way, this whole thing has to do with Australia.
Yeah.
The survey was sparked in response to an academic journal article published in Nature Human Behavior titled Video Game Loot Boxes Are Psychologically Akin to Gambling. The results were revealed today during a public hearing by the ECRC led by Dr. David Zindel and Dr. Paul Cairns of York's St. John University and University of York, respectively. Zindel and Cairns' investigation found the more severe an individual's gambling addiction, the more they typically spent on loot boxes, suggesting the results support claims that loot boxes are psychologically akin to gambling. The report added that these reports also suggest that there is a serious risk for loot boxes to cause gambling-related harm. In particular, the report suggested loot boxes could act as a gateway to problem gambling among gamers, and provide gaming companies with an unregulated way of exploiting gambling disorders among their customers. Considering the survey findings, it is recommended that games containing loot boxes carry parental advisories and a description that clearly stated the presence of in-game gambling content. Additionally, restricting the sale of games that contain loot boxes to players of the legal gambling age should be given serious consideration. And yeah.
You did, buddy. Good job. Take your water break. Yeah, so this is very interesting. Going from the top story, it's kind of wild to me that, like, it must have, like, to the bean counters and people at EA, it must have been, like, financially made more sense for them to just deal with potential lawsuits than it would be to actually, like, stop making money from loot boxes. I can believe it, too.
FIFA makes a lot of money.
You know, it makes an absurd
and I'm sure the EA's big enough, they got the lawyers like, hey, what would be the fee or whatever we would have to pay for this stuff?
Oh, I mean, like, this was obviously a, like, calculated move. Like, they obviously was like, no, we see that you told us to do this and that other people are doing it, where, like, it makes more sense for us not to. which is kind of crazy, kind of scary. Just that it's that much of an ingrained part of like one of the biggest like video game companies there is. Honestly, at this point, if EA was like forced to stop loot boxes in a lot of places, I would worry about the ripple effects that would have on EA as a company and like Unraveled and like weird like stuff like that. But that's kind of a whole nother tangent. I don't know. This is interesting. I feel like this conversation is heating up more than I thought it would.
Yeah, with the Australia thing, we're hearing more and more countries and places or whatever coming to the same conclusion. Yeah, this is gambling, and it is.
Right.
The form of gambling, and now the people are trying to, regulate it or...
Right. And most of the heat with this has come from non-US places for the most part. And it's interesting. I think me and you have like, obviously like there's, I'm of like different minds of it. I kind of don't love the idea of just regulating everything and even like, consenting adults, like, adults who like are old enough to gamble if they wanted to or whatever, they can't even like have any systems like this and like Overwatch stuff like that. They've like that gets pulled out, where I don't really think it's a cosmetic thing that I don't participate in, but it's a way to get more money, and I think it's fine in that respect. And so I don't really like the over regulation of these things, but I also in the same breath don't love that these companies are obviously trying to manipulate people, and they know younger people are like doing, are engaging in these loot boxes, whether they know or not. But at the same time, that's also like the parents' responsibility. So I never completely know where I'm at on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, this is such a hard, like, I feel like I'm so wishy-washy on loot boxes. And
I hear you. I'm kind of the same way too. It's like, yeah, I mean, you pretty much took both sides of the argument in a way.
I did. That's what I was. Yeah. Because I think all of that is valid, and like I don't really want, like, I don't like loot boxes in general, even the good one, the quote unquote good ones or whatever. It's still an annoyance and it's a nuisance, and I wish it didn't, things weren't like hidden behind loot boxes and stuff. But I also understand that it's a business and this is how some people make money. And I think that, if someone enjoys buying loot boxes, enjoys that rush and stuff or whatever, and they're responsible with it, who am I to say, like, oh, you're having fun wrong?
I guess one way to look at it is the way maybe Australia is looking at it, and I'm just spitballing here, where they're saying additionally restricting the sale of games that contain loot box players with legal gambling age should be serious consideration. Like, I guess if these places are considered pretty much gambling, the other way, but I guess on one hand it's like, okay, then Overwatch is rated 21 plus,
right?
Here,
and a lot of these, like,
and a lot of those games like Overwatch, where it's not that rating, pretty much means, oh, we gotta get rid of loot boxes.
Well, and a lot of these, like, these same problems were like people were voicing them in Call of Duty and Battlefield and stuff like that. Those are mature rated games that kids just play, and it's at that point it's like, okay, well, what more do you want? Like, it's already, these kids aren't supposed to be playing them, and they're legally not playing them. They're not allowed to be playing them. Their parents are letting them, and at that point, that's kind of the parents' responsibility. Like, I don't know. It's a tough situation when it comes. I don't know. It's a really,
the thing with Australian thing, at least in the US, I'm not sure what the age thing there. They would have to do something different than mature for that, right? Yeah, because it's 21 here, which is different than mature age.
I mean, it would be the same way you can't
adults only.
You can't go into a casino. Like, it'd be like the same deal. I don't know. Like, I would have said that I didn't think that this was gonna like maybe start to enter into America, but I don't know. This is
there's also another thing where
also I don't like the idea again of just complete regulation.
Yeah, As far as it going to America, I hate to kind of just bring this up without having the thing in front of me, but there's something about countries like signing something related to this, and it also, I think, had like Washington State on there as well as a sole U.S. thing, so it's kind of, and even then, it was enough like countries other than U.S. that are kind of taking these stances. Even a lot of these companies got to look, it may even affect the U.S. even if we don't have those laws, because like they gotta make it good for them.
You'd have to make a different SKU for America than everywhere else.
Or a different system.
Yeah.
So I guess people already did it because, like, Overwatch, for example, has a little switch like, oh, no paid loot boxes. Boop.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that is the only difference. They just can't buy the...
I believe so, yeah.
No.
And again, I don't think they... I guess I don't know for sure. I'm going to assume the loot boxes are in there, but yeah, it's just the in-game currency.
You
and
just
that
can't buy that. Yeah, it's only in-game. Yeah. I mean, I feel like every time it's just like we have to see where this goes and how much crazier this gets.
And we will talk about it.
And let us know what you think. I mean, I'm sure people have very strong opinions on loot boxes and everything. I'm very, again, wishy-washy on it.
Yeah.
And I hate that, but...
Yep. Well, let's talk about something I'm not wishy-washy about. This comes from Allegra Frank. Allegra? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Allegra.
Allegra.
Like
that sounds more right.
Like the allergy medicine.
Yeah. Allegra Frank from Polygon. Chances are, if you play the Zero Escape games, a trilogy that combines visual novel elements with complex puzzle solving, all wrapped up in a mind-bending story full of death and murder, you're also a fan of the similarly blood-splatter, dialogue-oriented Danganronpa franchise. You bet I am. I have played both. It's only fitting that their creators, Kazutaka Kodaka and Kotaro Ujikoshi of Danganronpa and Zero Escape, respectively, have joined up to form their own indie studio. Tokyo Games. I'm going to call it Tokyo Games. It's like two words, T-O-O, and then, I think I call it Tokyo Games.
Yeah, I wonder what they want you to say.
Yeah. It might be a weird translation thing, who knows. Was revealed as part of a Famitsu magazine live stream, like last week or whatever it was, during which the 7-member team introduced what it is currently has in production. There are 4 projects in the works at Tokyo Games thus far, many of which resemble the dark anime style of Danganronpa and Zero Escape. One game will be led by Kodaka Uchikoshi, and it's the highest priority of the studio right now. Not clear what the game will be about, but expect several teens entangled with murderous spirits in a fantasy world. The pair are also working on a game that looks cutesy on the outside, but is actually about young kids who are playing a death game, according to Famitsu. It is very shocking, in quotes. Sounds kind of like the original Japanese Battle Royale, perhaps. That's without the perk. And the last game is actually a collab between Tokyo and Spike's Chunsoft, Kodaka, and Uchikoshi's former employer. It's based in cyberpunk-styled setting that appears to never stop raining. But what else is going on is unclear.
Sounds like a match made in heaven.
Oh, yeah. And they have screenshots for all 4 projects, and I like the way all 4 screenshots look. So
sweet.
I'm in for this.
It's really, was that the first time they heard about these 4 games?
I think so.
That's super weird to be like,
I think
new studio, here's 4 games.
I think we might have talked about when these guys joined forces before.
Right.
Or talking about it, but I think this is the studio announcement officially. Yeah,
Really?
I played some of Zero Escape games. One of them, at least a good bit of it, not finished it. I can't remember. On the Vita. They actually did like Danganronpa and have a collection poured on the PS4. Nice. That's probably what I might do after.
That would be... You have to get your fix and there's no more Danganronpa.
I think it's really good and yeah, like...
yeah.
As far as review goes, it's like the same as Danganronpa, if not people like it more in some ways.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I'm excited for these and we will definitely talk about them when the time comes.
Sounds like it's just perfect for fans of both of those, both of those series.
I'm sure people are excited. And it's like, unfortunately, they mention here is... Since they're both gone, they're not going to be able to work on those franchises anymore, Danganronpa and Zero Escape.
Right.
But the author mentioned in a later paragraph that those series are kind of done. Like they have like a satisfying conclusion.
Okay.
I can't say anything about Danganronpa because I'm not done with 2 yet.
Yeah.
But I believe it.
Yeah. I love like the Japanese developers. They're basically like rock stars.
Yeah.
Like there's the Kojima and Suda51 and all those. I don't know.
Also, kind of good news for me. These games probably don't take nearly as long to make. So,
yes.
Probably why they're working on 4 with a 7-member team right now.
It's insane.
Next story comes from Colin Stevens from IGN. Hollow Knight is finally hitting the PS4 and Xbox One on September 25th in the digital content packed Voidheart Edition. Announced by developer Team Cherry, Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition will include the core game and its 4 additional content packs: Hidden Dreams, The Grim Troop, Lifeblood, and Godmaster. It's unclear if any exclusive content beyond these packs will be coming to the Voidheart Edition.
Very soon. Man, that game's going to sell a lot by the time this all said and done. Between PC and honestly, the fact that the releases were staggered might have helped it. Yeah.
Now it just gets talked about more for people who don't have...
Yeah.
Who don't game on PC or Switch, like, oh, I've been hearing a lot about this game. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, and the 2 members that ever work on this are rolling in the dough.
Rolling in money. Which I'm like, also, they basically just have like a blank check for whatever they want to make next. It's like, we have so much money, we can kind of just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Hollow Knight 2 or something completely different.
Yeah, I'm interested in whatever they do.
I am too.
Now, Darby, it's time to talk about some Jump Force news.
Heck yeah.
Okay, now the most exciting, like, fighting character announcement in a long while, in my opinion. Yukimoto from Yu-Gi-Oh! Was announced for Jump Force.
Biz their motorcycles.
Yugi wasn't in that series, I'm sorry to say.
There better be motorcycles or I'm not playing again.
Nah, but this has me the most excited than any other character that's been announced in Jump Force so far, because all the other ones have been predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like the...
It was like, maybe it would happen.
This is the first like series that wasn't in J-Stars that's been confirmed playable.
Okay.
And you know, since you grew up, I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! So being able to play as him and beating up Goku will be fun.
Yeah. Have we seen anything about like what monsters or anything they're using? What cards?
No, but you know, since TGS is this week, I imagine we're gonna get a trailer and probably a couple more character announcements.
I feel like there's just so many different places you could go with that.
Oh yeah. And we kind of have an idea what they can do because it wasn't made by these guys, but you know, there's a certain Jump fighting game on the DS which had Yugi, and yeah, he just used monsters and stuff to fight like they came out, which I imagine is what's gonna happen here.
Sweet.
And that will be dope.
That is dope. Again, it's really weird to me that like was this released? Like, I saw this like in just a Facebook post. Was that how it was released?
Yeah.
Why not make a hype trailer?
I'm not sure. It didn't even leak in a magazine for all I know. They just posted it there.
It just seems like,
I guess just get people excited for TGS.
There would have been people losing their minds. It's like, at least do something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I saw on GameSpot. I just looked at it real quick. They had like a TGS thing with a bunch of schedules and stuff on it, and listed games that are going to be there. And their Jump Force, they had like playable and trailer.
Okay.
So I guess that means Jump Force confirmed to get a trailer, which makes sense, especially if they have Yugi to show off.
Sure.
Also in Jump Force news, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, aka Super Saiyan Blue Goku, was leaked to be in the game from a magazine leaked, and later confirmed by Bandai Namco's US Twitter account. Bandai Namco later confirmed in a comment on the Twitter feed that this is a transformation and not a separate character. Thank you. That was my fear when I saw it. I was like, are they going to put in waste 2 Gokus in this crossover game when you have literally dozens of franchises to use?
I wouldn't put it past them.
It's bad enough in Dragon Ball FighterZ.
I know. Yeah,
with all the Gokus.
That's good.
So, yeah, they said it was a transformation, so that makes me happy. I imagine we'll see that at TGS as well. Hopefully another couple character announcements. Cool. And last bit of story news. Really quick thing. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is coming January 11th, 2019.
I can wait. I can wait.
Do what you need to do.
I mean, they said winter. That's still winter. Well, they did say winter 2018.
They did.
Yeah.
It wasn't that much.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. They had time at the end of 2018. Now
that would have been a good time. That would have been a good time.
Now it's January is the new September for me now, because I got that. I got No More Heroes, got Resident Evil, and I got Kingdom Hearts.
They screwed themselves in that way, but they're still gonna have your money.
No, I mean I'm gonna be getting this day one, partly because it's a game we're gonna be playing together. Yeah. So
no, I'm excited about it. All right, Jeffrey, it's time for the main topic. So that means,
cool. You got about as much as you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah. So Jeff,
Darby,
you played a little indie game called Spider-Man.
Very niche game according
Marvel's
to Etc.
Spider-Man. Is the official name Marvel's Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's what they've been calling it.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because every time I've seen it pop up with you playing it, it said Marvel's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Little game, tiny little game. You know,
by a very tiny studio called Insomniac Games.
I'm glad you're supporting the little guys out there. Jeff, was this as good as everyone seems to say it is?
Mostly yes.
Okay.
I guess I haven't read all reviews, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because I'll say this straight up, it does have some of the normal open world problems, but a lot of that feels a lot better because you're playing as Spider-Man and just the way Spider-Man feels. That makes sense.
Right. The actual, the way he moves and stuff. Like, I figured that it's one of these games, like, even I think the game's going to be great. I'm expecting it to be great and everything, but when you're, I mean, honestly,
I hesitated, but again, people aren't saying it's like God of War or anything. God of War's better than this game.
Okay, yeah. Just get that out. Just get that out of the way right now.
No, I mean, that's going to be just a comparison, especially as the Sony first parties and especially get close to the game of the year and stuff.
Yeah.
This will be out for it.
Which, in reality, they're, like, so different, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird comparing them anyway. But, like, I knew it was going to have some of those, like, open world faultings. Horizon had that. Witcher, even, to a point, has those things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but with that said, I platinumed the game, so obviously that didn't bother me too much. Right. Because otherwise, especially when I had Dragon Quest on the other games, I could have just stopped, no problem. I didn't have to get the platinum. But it just felt good playing as Spider-Man that I was more than happy to do this stuff.
Yeah.
With that said, let's just get the negatives out of the way, and then we'll get on to the fun positives.
The hype train.
Yeah. As far as side quests go, yeah, it's the same problem. The side quests aren't very entertaining.
Okay.
They're very short for the most part. There's actually one, and again, this is going to be pretty much spoiler free. And Darby, if I'm saying something that feels like a spoiler, stop me, because you know nothing. You know as much as anyone listening to this that has not played it.
I might know less than some because I stopped watching the last few trailers.
But there was one particular like stream of side quests where you had to, before you did the next one, you had to do the one before and blah blah blah. I had kind of a story.
Okay.
It was really short, and the idea of it was cool, but I wish it did more.
Right.
With it, because some of these side quests were like 5 to 10 minutes, which is not a bad thing in a way as far as getting that done, but at the same time, like, I wish some of them were more meaty.
It feels a little pointless or a little like, there's more potential there.
Yeah. So I think they're cool ideas, but, and I guess I can also say they didn't wear out their welcome, so that's a positive.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll say one thing I want from the next game, and what I'm about to say is not really a spoiler because they pretty much said as much.
Okay.
And the marketing, like, they're Easter eggs for like the Avengers, Doctor Strange, Daredevil, and stuff like that.
There's like Avengers
in this game,
Tower,
and they're not in the game. Again, not a spoiler. They said as much before.
Yeah.
What I would love is if for side quests for Spider-Man 2, because it's happening.
yeah.
For a lot of reasons, and what I would love is instead of having these like one-off little things with random NPCs that don't matter, have like side quest strings where one of them you're teaming up with Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
Or Punisher.
Do you think that would fit in the world that they've established here? Like, do you think it would make sense, like, gameplay wise, like, oh, I'm gonna go do this like little thing with Iron Man, do this little thing with that. Yeah.
I'm not even saying Iron Man, just you maybe the like New York street level people like Daredevil, like especially Punisher and stuff.
Right.
I think Luke Cage may have been mentioned in Luke Cage was mentioned in the game. Do something with him.
That's cool.
It's an Easter egg thing. Yeah, do more interesting stuff like that.
Right.
Like with side quests. I understand them not doing those characters other than, no more than Easter eggs in this game. So
and they have to get their footing.
No, that's what I mean. Solidify this is your Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, just create this world. Now in the next game, go beyond that and add a couple more.
I wouldn't be surprised because if I'm thinking about it and I'm like plotting these games out, you're making this game knowing that you're going to be making a Spider-Man 2. Like, if this game did even just a little baseline, it would have got a Spider-Man 2. That's one of the selling points you'd probably have is you're coming into the Spider-Man 2. It's like, now you show the end of the reveal trailer or something. There's Daredevil. It's like, what? You can already see that happening. And I can totally see how Insomniac might be like, there's been so many Spider-Man games before and everything. What makes ours different? We have to prove ourselves. Let's just nail Spider-Man.
Yes.
And I even worried about, and one thing I wanted to ask you, another one of my worries just going into the game was there were so many villains, and it seemed like that could be cool, but it also, like, I was worried that it would just be like none of them really got to shine because there was just like way too many of them vying for the spotlight. Mm-hmm. How did that work out for you?
I think it worked pretty fine. Some villains always got more spotlight than the other, but I feel like the ones that got more spotlight, not gonna say who, got what they needed, and I think it was fine. Personally, with the ones who didn't get as much, got as much as they got. They can, of course, if they wanted to, do more stuff with them in later games.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say about that.
Okay. yeah. So, I don't want to throw you into spoilers.
Thanos was there.
Oh no.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, the story is another thing. I've heard some people say the story I mean, like, I've heard people say this is like I've heard everything. I've heard some people say this is like one of the best like Spider-Man stories they've seen. I've seen other people say it was like kind of by the books, but
this is what I'll say about it. As far as they're saying one of the best ever, I don't know if I'll say that exactly because there are a lot of great Spider-Man stories out there. Part of me thinks, yeah, I mean, not to generalize people who say that probably are people who read as much of the comics as Spider-Man, you know, getting into all that, mainly the more mainstream stuff, which is fine. Yeah, which is fine. Yeah. But I think it's a very solid Spider-Man story, which without saying spoilers, went in some ways that you would expect as you go through the story.
Right.
And but they did it really well. To where your point, you're okay with it. Right. And there are also a couple other things which they deviate from normal what your expectations of Spider-Man are.
Right.
And they do it very well.
Okay.
Or, you know, or it's at least very interesting. And let me put it that way, those kind of deviations make me very excited for the sequel, which is happening.
That's good. That's good. I mean, it really seemed like these are guys who like love Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
who made this game.
If people don't like, well, I'll say this for you, Darby. I recommend if when you play this game, go watch Kind of Funny's Spoilercast thing, because it has like creative director, like they had God of War with Spider-Man. It's very interesting to listen to.
Yeah,
like it was mainly him just talking about developing the game and all that kind of stuff, which is a very fun listen.
Well, good. Like every time I've heard Insomniac talk about it, it was just like, this is the project they've been wanting to make for years.
It was great to just listen to him talking, like, you know, instead of being a little crazy like it did, hide things and go all in.
Right. And,
you know, when everyone listening there, you know, assuming everyone listening has played the game in its entirety.
No, I definitely will be checking that out.
I want you and Will to get done so we can do like a spoiler cast when we talk about the story.
Yeah, so. Don't wait for me. If you and Will can get together and do it, do it. But
I mean, you're done with Tomb Raider. You might be able
to. I might be able to.
If you go, I mean, if you do whatever you want, but if you go into Spider-Man, you.
That's
not as fast as me, but as far as being the story, it probably won't take you that long.
Probably not. I mean, like, from whatever one I've heard, they said that it was like, when Spider-Man was done, they wanted more Spider-Man. Like, it didn't overstay its welcome like that, which is...
Yeah, and I guess going back to the collectibles, and we'll get more into the story, just so we can kind of get done with that stuff. The collectibles were fun. I really like the backpacks all around, because as a lot of people who follow this game knows, this Spider-Man is a veteran Spider-Man. He's 8 years into his career.
Right.
The backpacks are cool because there are a lot of them, and whenever you... each one has a different item in it. And when you go into the menu and click on it or whatever, it tells Peter, says a couple lines about it. And it kind of fills in a little bit about this world and his Spider-Man and his
about
history.
Those 8 years that you didn't have,
and his history with the villains he made.
That's cool. Like, I think that's a super cool way of...
I think that was the best way to do those collectibles, because it kind of made you want to get them, because you want to know, okay, what's this Spider-Man's deal?
Yeah, and I also think it's a good way of telling that story. It's the like same exact thing with Homecoming, where it's like we've seen this origin so many times, everyone gets it, everyone knows. Like, we don't need to rehash this so much. Like, let's just
and I imagine
get into it.
While people like us are all for that, like, yay, we're not going for the origin story again. Probably some people that may not like it. I don't know.
But I mean, I also like some stories being told by like people's experience and like reminiscing about stuff. Like, you don't need to show everything. Like, I like that. I've even like, I have heard people talk about the game, so I mean, I won't spoil things, but I mean, like, that I've heard just people talk about like stories, but like I've heard people talk about like him finding backpacks and stuff, and like you learning about this experience that he had with MJ at one point. And it's like, that's cool. It's like little things that build up the world like that.
Yep. I guess we can talk about MJ and that kind of stuff. I like the MJ in this game because, and the kind of funny thing, and I think this was obvious, they went in the mentality, we're not making her a damsel in distress. We are not doing that.
Which is good.
That's not saying she can't be saved or anything.
That has to be like the
But when that's your only character trait.
Oh, there's so many cringy things about the
Raimi Spider-Man?
The Raimi Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah,
that's the worst. That has to be like the single most cringy.
Kind of funny people mentioned that because they were like, yeah, we're playing this as we're watching the Raimi Spider-Man. We're like, dear Lord. But like, it reinforces that MJ is just there as a prop, pretty much, to be saved.
But is she more of a character? Is she strong character in it?
Yeah, she does her own things, and as was in Sunny, so you do gameplay sections. They're kind of more stealthy sections.
Right.
I was more okay with them than it seemed most people were.
Oh, yeah.
I found them enjoyable enough. It was a nice little break between the whole action-packed stuff.
Yeah.
It might have been a little annoying. That's probably where I had the most game overs.
Right.
Just getting caught and everything, but they were fine.
Yeah. Sometimes those things can be overdone when it's like, you never want people to be like, oh, God, it's time to play MJ, you know?
No, I was never like that. Again, I enjoyed them enough.
Right.
And I was kind of like, again, it's a nice break between, playing Spider-Man and doing something a lot more laid back. And I liked seeing what MJ was up to.
Yeah.
See what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
How about the other characters?
Let's see.
Because I know, like, he has it's not the man in the chair. He has Yuri or whatever. It's a girl in the chair.
Yeah. Yuri was talking with Yuri.
Yeah.
I bet that was like the only time in Yuri Lowenthal's life that he actually called someone else Yuri. I bet it's not happened too often.
Probably not. It's probably not a very common name, at least in the States, probably especially.
Yeah, she was pretty cool enough. I can maybe say maybe they didn't use her enough other than as her little voice, but that can be done more in the sequel.
Right.
Trying to think.
I know.
I'm trying not to go.
It's so weird for me to picture this game because like there's so many characters that I can even talk to you about, and I haven't even played the dang game. So it's like there's a lot of characters to juggling in this game.
Okay, we know he's in the Miles Morales. I liked him in this game.
Yeah,
So
I really don't know about what
any stuff happened with that. Trying to think. It's hard to try to talk about this stuff without doing spoilers.
It is. It is. I mean, we can talk about more gameplay stuff too. It's just
I'll say something about this. And I seem to not be alone with this. Yuri Lowenthal is a fantastic Spider-Man. He nails the Peter and the Spider-Man thing to the point where I honestly think at this point, when I'm reading comics of more adult Spider-Man, that's just the voice I'm going to be hearing.
Wow. That's high praise.
I feel like he nails it.
Like in the dichotomy between them and stuff. I mean, like, because that's kind of the Spider-Man characters that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are like two different people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Might blend in more together than some people may like, but I really liked them as.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone else, voice acting wise, did a very good job in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other non-sport story.
I mean, I'm sure
it's hard.
Once I start playing it too, we're going to be talking about it more again. Like, once
so we're doing a Spoilercast
because I'm really.
I really want to talk about certain story things with someone.
Did you have any concerns with the combat or like the progression system, anything like that?
No,
Was that all good?
Yeah, I liked it. You got level ups in it, of course, and then you got skill points for each one, and you can go into like there were 3 different skill trees, one being web slinger, one being defender, and one being something else that had to just do with attacking and the kind of stuff.
Or something.
I mean, not exactly that. I think there's a more fancy word for it, but yeah, and you can go in any direction you wanted to, do whatever you want. In the end, though, I mean, you'll be able to get all of them by the end of the game, no problem.
Yeah.
You actually got the tools you could use. Those were fun. I maybe not use some of them to their full potential.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely one of those games where you probably like. I hate it when there's so many games that it's like they give you so many things to use, but you find the like 3 things that work. So you're gonna just keep using the 3 things that work.
Okay, yeah.
God of War is actually a game that I feel like was super good about like whenever you got new stuff you wanted to use them. And there was a lot of utility for it, and it was one of the few games like that where I didn't end up getting stuck in my ways, and I think that's just good game design. I don't know if it was just me being more open to it, but
as I'll say this as a kind of negative opinion, it might be different for other people. I felt like I heard other people talk about this. Okay, as people probably know, there are a bunch of suits in this game. There are about 27-ish suits you can lock in this game. And each suit has a suit power that you can equip. You can equip one at a time, and you can use it with any suit, which is nice.
Yeah.
The second suit power I got is the one I pretty much use for most of the game. It's just so useful. It's one people have seen. It's called Web Blossom, where he shoots in the air and just shoots webs everywhere, and everyone gets stuck in the wall. Yeah. It's just so dang useful.
It's hard to not do that.
Yeah, but I did mix it up when I was doing side missions just for the fun of it, and they were fun. Yeah, and this is something I don't know if people call me lame for this. For story missions, I always use the default suit, the cover suit with the white spider and all that. I always use that because some of those suits, it would look weird if we were in cutscenes with that.
This would be an interesting conversation one day. Like, are you someone, because I definitely am, whenever I'll be in a game and it'll be like, all these costumes look awesome, but I'm like, but it would make no sense for them to be wearing that. So like, I have to choose the one that would make sense.
Or at least one of the ones that makes sense.
I wish that I could get myself to not do that, but I can't.
Like,
I have to.
Like in Tails games when they have all those goofy outfits. I can't wear them.
It always takes me out of it. Like, even Tomb Raider I'm about to talk about, there was like so many awesome outfits and stuff, and that was part of the game, is you can like change into all these different things. It's like, but I only use like 3 because there's only 3 that ever really made sense.
Yeah, but I switch between suits and all that kind of fun stuff during side missions, mixed it up some.
That's good.
Try to like, okay, what suit makes sense for this kind of mission, just for the fun.
But I mean, like, I'm even like neurotic to the point where I'd be like, no, she already left for this mission. She wouldn't have a change of clothes. That's ridiculous. I'm pretty neurotic.
You could change during boss fights if you want to.
Yeah, see that I don't like that. It messes with it. Like, I'm like, no.
Freedom, Darby.
My immersion, Jeff. My immersion. All right. Well, any more last Spider-Man talks before Tomb Raider comes?
That thing. We'll probably end up talking more in the future.
We will.
It'll be easier to talk when
I
get bounce off you.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. I think for the most part, it's as good as people say. Though I guess then again, people haven't been talking up side missions as much in the side. I mean, they're saying there's a lot of fun and you want to do it, which is true, but it's not like the best thing ever. But that's the case for most of these games. Yeah,
so, as long as the main story and the exploration and some of the collectibles and stuff, that's all I need in Spider-Man.
Again, we'll talk about more in the future, but I guess I'll end it with this. I am very excited for the sequel because, you know, Insomniac can look at what people are saying are the weakest points.
Right.
Like some of the side stuff and build on that because they nailed Spider-Man himself, the character, the world, the way he moves.
Some of the hardest parts.
Yeah, they nailed the important things. Yes. And those are really good. And again, the side stuff is not bad or anything, but there's just a weaker part, and that's the thing with most open world games. But that's stuff they can
And this is their first outing with this.
Yeah.
With this
and this
series,
is...
so it's like,
I think it's safe to say the most ambitious game Insomniac has done.
I feel like it has to be. Yeah. This has the highest stakes, at least, riding on it. You know? Yeah.
So, makes me very excited that potentially, if they take the few criticisms that are there to heart and try to work on that stuff, Spider-Man 2 could be an all-time great.
Yes.
Potentially, just based on what they had. Because, again, I want to talk about the stories if I know I can, but I'm very...
Well, we will.
I'm very interested to see...
We will have a spoiler cast, whether it's just Jeff and Will or all 3 of us.
Yeah.
It will
Again, there's a lot more to talk about, but spoilers.
Alrighty. Well, let's give Jeff, at least being the center of attention, a break, but...
Spotlight's on you.
Spotlight's on me. But you gotta find some juicy Tomb Raider questions. You haven't even played. You played the 2013 one, didn't you?
Yeah.
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 All right. So, I just this morning, beat Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Obviously, I still have some side tombs and stuff to do, but I did the main story. I did most of the stuff I'm planning to do in the game. And
you're not platinuming it?
Probably not platinuming it. There are a lot of collectibles, and they're probably not as fun.
It's not as fun to swing around the city.
No, can't swing around the jungle as fast as I can.
Oh dang!
Yeah, this is a shame. It's a shame. But I really, really like this game. I think it's definitively the best Tomb Raider I've played. I will say, with that being said, it's also a game that I feel like does not have very many surprises. Like, it is a Tomb Raider game. And it's like, it succeeds in the same places that the Tomb Raider games have succeeded in the past, mostly being like the gameplay loop and the exploration and the gunplay, all that stuff, A+. The story, just like the other Tomb Raiders, it's about, like, the way I would describe it is, I think the highs are higher than they've ever been, but the lows are about the same that they've always been. The story, part of what I was looking forward to with Shadow of the Tomb Raider is they've built it up a lot over the marketing. That it's like, this is a darker Lara, and like, she's done things. You could even see her as the villain potentially if you looked at it in a certain way or whatever. And it's like, she has the, deal with the consequences of her actions. None of that really ever, I feel like, comes into fruition. I feel like they try to set that up, but you never actually like see her as the bad guy, because like Trinity that she's going after is just this like cartoonishly evil
Did he twirl a mustache though?
organization. They might as well. I mean, like it's one of these where it's like, I get what you're going for, but she was never not the protagonist. And like it was a little disappointing to me that like, and there was several times there where it was like, oh, they're gonna do it, they're gonna like do this gut punch, and it's like, nope, they pulled back at the last second. I'm like, well, that sucks. I mean, like Lara Croft is a really cool character, and her and Jonah, the other main person with her, I think their dynamic is better than it's ever been in the past, but it's still like, this game's not going to win any narrative awards or anything like that. It was charming in the way and like kind of cool, but that's, even though they acted like in the marketing like that was going to be a focus of this game, it didn't feel like it. Like it was really, the gameplay is where this thrives. And to me, that's the most important thing. when it comes to these games, like I really think like gameplay is king, and that's kind of why I still like the Tomb Raider series a little bit more than Uncharted, because I think it's just funner to play. Which,
hot take.
It's a hot take. So yeah, like that's the bad stuff out of the way with the story. It was fun, but not, it could have been, it could have been more. But that being said, this game is stunning. The jungle like setting, I like the jungle setting a lot more than I liked Rise of the Tomb Raider, but it was like all ice.
Snow, yeah.
It was all like in Siberia, and everything was just like frozen and like kind of like the same things over and over again, which I guess this was, but it was a lot more vibrant, and you had like
more trees to climb,
and tigers
people from.
Yes, Jesus, there's some brutal assassination animations here where she just like, Lara's come a long way from like the first game. She killed a deer and cried over it, and now she's like brutally ripping people's.
See, but she was fine like 2 minutes later, murdering everyone.
This is also true. Some of the like shortcomings of that. But I mean, again, this is definitely a Tomb Raider game. It's like it's the same gameplay loop that's been in the other ones. There's lots of, you're going from set piece to set piece, and there's a lot more stealth in this game, which I liked a lot. I think there was a lot of like new abilities and new like combat like ways that you could like actually approach every situation differently. Whereas I feel like a lot of these third person shooters, it ends up getting like running into another room with a bunch of barricades, and waves of people. This doesn't really have that. I feel like there's always, you could run in there and do that, but there's always a million different ways you can do stealth, and I did almost all stealth in this game because it just felt fun, because you could like cover yourself with mud to like camouflage yourself, hide on a wall, and then like jump out and like kill someone. It just felt awesome to like slowly pick away at everyone.
I mentioned kind of the same way in Spider-Man, you can do that. Places, but web them up. I don't know if it's the same thing in Tomb Raider, but in Spider-Man it felt weird because the people were just hanging there, and people are noticing like.
No, in Tomb Raider they dead as hell.
Yeah, that's one thing you say if you're in for the big immersion. That was tremendous relief, because you have half a dozen people just hanging from the ceiling.
You got me, Spider-Man.
And the people not noticing it.
You better stay quiet. No, like this game is brutal. This game has some like very, very brutal. Like Lara Croft kills a lot of dudes in this game.
But is she as big of a mass murderer as Nathan Drake? That's something I need to know.
We're probably about the same, but she's a little more brutal about it.
Yeah.
I think, and there's a lot more blood when she does it.
Not enough quips, some would say.
Yeah, probably not enough clips. I think Nathan
That's
Drake,
the levity it needs.
Nathan Drake has her beating clips as he's murdering everyone.
Yep.
But I mean, this game is very much like, I think Uncharted is in a very similar way. It's like you kind of get into like, this makes it sound bad, but you get into like kind of a lull, but like a good lull of like, you're going through the climbing and the just going from like these different set pieces and just the sheer spectacle of everything going on. It just kind of feels nice. Like I like playing, like I've played Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider both in like 3 sittings or 4 sittings, and I love playing it that way because you can just like, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go through the story. And yes, there are like some open little hub areas. Like it's not open world, but it's like semi, like there's a little element there. But I do think this game is kind of like, if you're not really feeling some of the side stuff, I would say just go through the main story, and you can go back for the side tombs later, because I like this as a linear experience. I like it as I'm just going through the story.
Do you get enough progression stuff as you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I really like about this, which I feel like other games, I hope they do it, is the difficulty sliders, you can change the difficulty sliders by like, I just want to make the combat harder, but the puzzles will be like the same difficulty, or I want to make the puzzles harder but not the combat. You can like, they're different sliders, and like, if you're an idiot like me and you can like, there's a hole in my brain where the place where you're supposed to solve puzzles is, and like, I'd be like, I didn't keep it there, but I was just like, it takes me a long time to solve puzzles, whereas like, I was never ever dying in combat, like ever. So I moved like combat to hard, and I moved the puzzle to easy just to see how it was, and it was like, yeah, this is a more enjoyable experience for me. It's like, I want to kind of play this game how it's meant to be played, because I'm doing this review and everything, so I put it back to normal. But it was like, if I'm being honest with myself, I probably would have enjoyed the puzzles on easy and combat and hard, which I did play combat and hard, and I do think that's, if the combat is a little too easy for you, just bump that part up. And I think that's a really cool thing. So you don't have to like just do everything harder. Like, I like that there's the little sliders.
That makes sense, because the skills don't exactly translate from one to the
other. Right. And I've seen other people have the complete opposite problem.
Yeah. I guess that's another game that does that. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I know Danganronpa kind of does that, where it has like, I can't remember, like logic is a different difficulty, and there's something else that has a different thing, like you're thinking you got to do to get to the answer.
I mean, the puzzle thing, it was mostly just like on easy, if you like, you hit this button where like different things like it highlights different interactable things, and if you went to easy, it would kind of highlight some of the things that it's like, these are the, like,
this is what you
ignore
need.
Some of these other ones. These are what you need to deal with, and like, she'll say something that's like a little more pointing you towards the answer. Whereas if you had a normal, it would, she'd just be like, I need to get over there, and so you have to figure it out. And some of these puzzles are legitimately hard, and I've looked, and other people also agree. Like, I think these are definitely the best puzzles. Like, I think basically everything this game does right. Like, it does the same things right as the other games, but just everything's like bumped up a lot. Like, there's a lot of creativity going into this game, and I think that that worked really well. But I like the difficulty sliders there. I will say, I do think it's really weird. This game is one of the like most beautiful games I've ever played, and the like just like environments and everything you go in, and just like set piece is amazing. It also has some of the like weirdest weirdest like lip animations.
Yeah, I've seen some videos, but it seemed like there was a case by case basis.
Yeah, because like I like the main story cutscenes are fine. Like they're really good. The lips and everything are like perfectly good. But as soon as you're talking to like even one step down from the main NPCs, it's like it gets pretty like weird. It's like the lips are just completely like out of sync and everything, and some of the side characters are just not animated nearly as well. Like, there's a hierarchy. You can tell how important someone is by like how good their animations are.
I doubt they're as not important as the boat people in Spider-Man. Have you seen that?
No.
They have like square, like triangle heads. Like people on the boats where on the map, you go on the boat, they have freaky like square triangle heads.
Oh god.
You're not meant to get up close.
Don't look at them, Spider-Man. They're gonna like
put them out of their misery, Spider-Man.
They're gonna put that in Spider-Man 2. That's like some enemy you're fighting is the square head fish people.
Yep.
The boat people.
J. Jonah Jameson like, did you see what Spider-Man did? He made the fisherman ugly.
Oh god. It was all him.
Well, I was born like this. It was Spider-Man.
And I'll also say like some of the, I think they added a lot more into this game, but it was not all equal. Like some of the side stories, there's definitely some, hey, go get this for me. Thanks. Here's a skill or something. It's like not the most exciting things.
No,
and I'm probably not going to do all of those. I did a lot of them, mostly because I'm doing this for review. But it was like, it's there for people who want to explore more, and it gives you some excuses to go like look at different parts of the map, but I just want to do that anyway. But the challenge tomb, there's like optional tombs that you can do. Those are some of the best in the game. Like those are super, super, super good.
Nice.
And there's like probably like 12 of them. There's a lot of them. So there's a lot of content in this game, even past the main story, that is really enjoyable. And it's just like, this is not a game for everyone, because it's a very like kind of linear-ish game. There's a lot of obviously climbing and stuff and doing different things and like just getting the story, and a lot of like just the spectacle. I think there could have been more combat and stuff, but it's also like it's a somewhat just a chill experience. It's like I know that I can just get in Tomb Raider, go through the story, and I'm done. And it's almost like, I mean, the like just visuals of it. It's like almost like going through a park or something, like a national park or a hike or something, because you just like you're seeing. There's just such a sensory overload of like you're just seeing all these insane like things that you've never seen in video games, and they're able to do that because it's a very on rails experience. So it's one of those, it's for certain people, not for other ones. And I don't get into like, I kind of like I always criticize Uncharted for that. That was like way too like taking you out of the action and like forcing you to do this and forcing you to do that. Whereas I feel like Tomb Raider has just enough openness, and you can approach things in different ways, and you can kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. I like it a little bit more. I like that. So it's weird. There's not a whole lot to say, because it's not like Shadow of Tomb Raider is not like an exciting game in the fact of like it's revolutionizing Tomb Raider or anything.
Look at this new crazy thing.
No, it's like it's not going to surprise you in any way. And if you play the other Tomb Raiders, you know what you're going to get, but it's the best one. I think it's like it's Tomb Raider but refined, and it's like it went down real smooth right now, because I haven't had a game like that in a while, and I still think this is just going to be a very underrated series of games.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this sells.
I've seen like just early things saying that some physical sales were down, but
Spider-Man doesn't help it.
No, it came out in a very bad time. But apparently Rise sold a lot more than I thought it did. So like
this is true.
In the end, I think it like kind of had a long tail, and it's also been on 1 million sales, so that probably helped.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I just hope that I'm very interested, because they like definitely put this as like this is kind of the end to this trilogy of games. Even though I'm not spoiling anything, they could keep going if they wanted to. Like,
you mean she doesn't die?
Zombie Lara.
What a twist!
Yeah, it's one of those. I think they very much ended this like this could be the end, or it could not. We don't know. It's like
we'll see how many of you buy it.
Exactly. So I'm super interested to see where they go with this series in general. I really wanted this to be a little bit. I wanted me to be coming here. Like, I think I said in the podcast a few weeks ago, I was like, I hope there's just some, like, gut punch where it's like, they did this in a Tomb Raider game? Like, what the hell? It's like, Lara, what the hell is wrong with you? That didn't really come to fruition. But, still a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun. And I hope people get to these games.
It's the beginning of the next game. They're going to kill off Laura in the first 10 minutes, and then you play as Logan Croft.
Man, take a chance, man.
God.
It was just like, I'm just sitting here, I was just like, oh, you're so close. I was like, just do it. Just do something. It was like, no. But a lot of fun. And I think Will will probably play it at some point, because he really liked Tomb Raider. You should get to these games at some point if you want. You're welcome to borrow both of them from me, Rise and that, because like they're just fun games. They're very like just gameplay wise, really really fun. Yep. So that's Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yep, we got through 2 good games, Darby.
2 very good games. And it's sad that like Shadow of the Tomb Raider is probably going to be pretty low on like a lot of people's list, and like decently low on mine, depending on how many games I get to. But it's so damn good.
I had to thought about Spider-Man.
Even though I'm really like, I think I haven't really like really voiced. I love Octopath Traveler, but I have been souring on it a little bit the more I play it. Still love it. I think this game would be over Octopath Traveler for me.
Oh, I was thinking about Spider-Man. I was thinking my potential like top games. Just I'm always thinking.
Always thinking.
Spider-Man could barely make my top 5, if not in my top 5.
Wow. Okay, so God of War, Dragon Quest, Celeste.
Smash.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. We're getting pretty low there.
And that's if I end up liking Dragon Quest more.
Yes, yeah.
Speaking of Dragon Quest.
Speaking of Dragon Quest, Jeff, you played Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I have played Dragon Quest. Not as much as I wanted to because the day after it came out, I went to Prague Power, then I came back and got Spider-Man, and that's what I've been playing for the last week.
It's been a busy little bit.
Yeah.
So about how far are you in it?
6 hours?
6?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were a little bit further than that. All right, well, initial Dragon Quest impressions then.
Yeah, I only got one other party member than my main character. That's how early in the game I am.
I understand, man. You went through Spider-Man really fast, and I'm happy you did. You did it for the fans, right? You did.
I did it for the people. No other reason.
No other reason. Well, how's it been?
It's been really good. It's so far exactly what I want. It just feels good, man. It's so jolly. It's the exact kind of thing. It's just a good feel-good JRPG.
Yeah. And I mean, a long time coming with it, obviously.
Again, repeat this. It's been, what, I don't know, 14, 13, 15 years, whatever, since the last console mainline Dragon Quest.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just mechanics wise and everything, is it doing new things, doing cool things, or just
not necessarily doing new things? Depending on your opinion, this is a weakness or strength for it. It is an old school JRPG in a lot of ways. It does have the turn-based battle system, right. And yeah,
building a party like this.
Yeah, building a party, leveling up, gaining skills. Yeah, what I love about I guess something is different in this, if I remember right, from 8. Each character has a skill tree. You go and build off of it, and you have different directions. Each character has like a set of weapons that they're able to use. Like the main character is able to use swords and great swords, and I think that's it as far as the weapons go. And it's like a magic related thing you could go down in, and I imagine, especially since I'm early, you'll be able to go in every direction. It's not be like only pick one, you go that way. You're gonna be able to use all weapons. And the second guy I got, he uses daggers, which if you go for the skill tree enough, you can use dual daggers and equip 2 daggers to him, a sword and a boomerang.
It's always my favorite thing. Dual daggers.
Yep. I mean, do that, and something that I remember right is different. This has like a draconic mode, which is in the beginning. It says, "Hey, do you want to turn on draconic mode?" Sure. It has a bunch of like little things you can turn on and off to change the game and make it more difficult. I think I might have taken a picture of what all it did. Let's see.
So did you add some more difficulty? I know you were a little worried about this game being maybe a little too easy.
Yeah. I don't think I took a picture of it.
Yeah, I've heard some people say it was too easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I turned on one of them, and I guess a potential downside of draconic mode is once you turn it on and then you turn it off in the game, you can't turn it back on. So let's hope that I'm able to keep it on.
That is annoying.
I heard that at some point, like halfway through the game, it becomes a little more difficult. Yeah, I'll figure out later. I can't remember what all it had done. It's a bunch of different modifiers. I only turned on one. I only turned on that monsters are harder, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Or more difficult, which I can see being the case.
Maybe need it.
Yeah, it's not the monsters aren't a walk in the park and need to go heal sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Especially since I only have 2 members of the party. And there were some other things, I can't remember. I know one of them was you can't buy like equipment and stuff from the shop. You can only get stuff from monsters and treasure chests.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, I'll keep that off.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to shops.
And see, yeah, I like that too. Like when you get to a new town, it's like let's see
what
new things.
I don't need my
I feel like you would have to like really know where things are and where to get the good stuff.
I don't need Dragon Quest to be too hard, man. I want to enjoy my ride.
You're barely gonna have enough time to beat it as it is.
Yeah, I want to have a good time. I don't want it to be brain dead easy, but
right.
You know, want to have a good time with it.
Yes.
And yeah, of course, it's a Dragon Quest. Akira Toriyama art. It's a very charming game. Feels like those kind of things. I kind of need that since it's a nice, charming JRPG.
Or it's just zen, just go through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Story-wise, so far, nothing too crazy.
You are the hero of legend.
I am the hero of legend. I even have a little band on my hand and everything.
So you are the hero of legend. So
exactly.
Anytime you forget, just look.
Yep. What's that? And the king of the kingdom's trying to kill me and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, I don't mind spoiling what I've done for Dragon Quest so far. It's like a 5% through the game.
Yeah.
And the most stuff's been shown off at this point. This game's been out for a year technically, so I'll be a little more free with spoilers.
You're still in tutorial stuff. You're only 6 hours into this 80-hour game.
Yeah. But I'm really enjoying it. It's just... I'm just remembering about why I love Dragon Quest 8 so much, just from the little I played. Just like going into the towns and seeing like its charm and everything, the people in it, the way the towns are designed, just going into people's houses and stuff and breaking their pots. Yes. It just feels so good, man.
I mean, I'm sure it's like one of those games that's like simultaneously like it looks great in this modern time, but it's also like nostalgic as hell. I imagine. Where it's like, yes, it's very traditional, but it's like Dragon Quest in a lot of ways is one of the OGs there, and was your first, I imagine, or at least one of your first JRPGs like this.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being I don't remember one before the slides and everything.
So it feels very good, man. Again, I don't need Dragon Quest to go into the way of Final Fantasy and doing all that.
Which it's very interesting looking at those two series next to each other. Not saying that like one did it better than the other, but it's very interesting that they both come from like similar roots. But Final Fantasy like mixes up the formula, goes a bunch of different ways every single time. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Whereas Dragon Quest kind of stays the course and is usually always just it's interesting.
They did go MMO in the last game.
They did do that, I guess.
Yep. All right, I'm sorry. I know I'm not really saying much. Part of it is
you don't have that much time.
And I played it 2 weeks ago.
That too.
So it's not as fresh in my mind as
now. You can get back to it.
Yeah, so I'll definitely have more impressions later on. I'm trying to think. I'm loving this game. This definitely this could end up just based on what I know of the game and just from the reviews I've read, I think this could end up just replacing Dragon Quest 8 on my top list.
Nice.
I feel like there's just a chance of that happening. It's just, again, based on what I've seen and played and just the impressions I've just seen.
Guess the only other thing I could think of is music hasn't been that bad.
No, it hasn't bothered me, but then again,
it's not that big. Like music doesn't stand out to you as much as some other people.
Yeah, not even that I don't like music. Is that I just kind of phase it out for whatever reason, just naturally for the most part.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't bother me. It probably definitely bother you a lot more. And
it's just like for a game like that, it just seems like, at least to me, one of the biggest things that I love about JRPGs is the soundtrack. It's like that's one of like the central things, but.
Yeah, even sometimes I'm trying to.
And I guess for people who don't know, what exactly is the problem with the soundtrack?
They're using like a MIDI soundtrack or whatever because the right way to say it. Because the composer is I guess a dick is the right way to say it.
Is the official term.
There are a lot of reasons to dick, but we'll stick to the music related reasons. Yeah. He's a very greedy man from the sounds of it, so he won't allow orchestral tracks into the game because he wants to sell CDs and concert tickets. Yeah.
So there is an orchestral version. It's just not in the actual
game. It's like literally a CD
stupid.
With the orchestral tracks.
Really
but he will not allow in the game. We were somehow lucky that they added it from the Japanese version for the English version for 8. So for a lot of people, when they hear that was not the norm, that was like an exception, people were shocked, like, what?
Yeah.
Especially when going into the hype cycle for this game.
Especially because that's probably just so iconic, much of the Dragon Quest music. But
yeah, so it makes me think if Dragon Quest gets the Smash, how that would go.
That's one of those, maybe with a grain of salt, it might mean more to you, like someone listening, than it does to Jeff. But yeah.
I mean, it's a giant bummer. I wish it was the orchestral track. It does stand out sometime when I'm trying to listen to it and everything.
I've heard people say like, yeah, it's like most of the time they don't see it, it doesn't matter, but then there'll be like a serious moment and it's like this music just doesn't fit.
That's kind of it.
Yeah. That is a bummer.
And they already voice act. They've added voice acting to the English version.
Are you doing English or Japanese?
There's no Japanese.
There is no Japanese.
Or they might have added it. I can't sure. The Japanese version originally had no voice acting whatsoever. They added it to the English version.
Weird.
Yeah. Voice acting's pretty solid. It's charming.
Yeah.
As it, like English voice actors and
right.
stuff.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Goes with the vibe. Yeah, again, sorry. It's been 2 weeks since I played for the little...
I didn't expect this to be anywhere near as big as the 2 finished games that we just did.
I will definitely talk on this game because I loved what I played. And again, this... I don't know if this will beat God of War or Smash or anything, but it will make its case, I'm sure. I'll have to come ahead and see where it will be. Yeah. Just based on what I know, what I played and know in this game.
Yeah. Only other thing, I forgot... Shadow Tomb Raider's soundtrack is also like surprisingly good.
Nice.
I was like, I wasn't really. I mean, like Shadow Tomb Raider is definitely one of the games where I don't pay attention to the soundtrack, but there was definitely multiple times where it's like, okay, I see you. You're making me actually like feel something because of the orchestra, not because of the narrative. I mean, I'm not saying that the Shadow Tomb Raider story is necessarily horrible. It's just nothing to write home about.
Yeah, it's serviceable.
It's serviceable. Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, that is our jam-packed podcast full of games that we played and loved.
Yeah,
it was a good year for games.
Yeah, I just had a thought. Like, the fact Spider-Man could be potentially my number 5 or lower.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily see Spider-Man potentially being over Shadow Tomb Raider. Probably. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But
it'd be kind of.
Either way, it'll be like right around.
It'll be kind of funny if I don't even know what your gaming situation, like your top thing is. I know God of War is number 1, but beyond that, and Smash will probably be there. Yeah, but it'd be funny at this point since you've been a lot more hesitant for Spider-Man if they did it up above.
If you just like rocketed up, I'm like, oh my god, Jeff, this is the best.
Even if I do love it more than you, just the games we played just happen to be above.
That would be funny. That would be funny.
I think you'll enjoy it. I think the combat is different enough from Arkham and more speedy and everything, and there's a lot more than just punching and then reacting. And
yeah, that's the biggest thing, dude. I just don't like in Arkham. And I feel like I'm doing the same thing. I'm just punch, dodge, punch, dodge, punch, dodge, and it's just slow. And I just
there's a lot of web swinging. You can do a bunch of gadgets. You can jump in the air, bring people up with you. Honestly, a lot of stuff you can do.
Like just the brawling and stuff would probably get like. I would get so sick of it that it would detract from the game. The abilities and stuff is probably going to save it for me. Like, that's going to be the...
I mean, there are a lot of that, and you can do what you want with them.
Yeah.
There's like 7 or 8 gadgets you can unlock or something like that. There's a little wheel. You can switch between them at any time.
Yeah. I mean, and another thing I just didn't like about like some of the Spider-Man, just visually, just from what feelings I got in the trailer and stuff, is just like... And it was a similar thing in Arkham. I felt like there were so many things in Arkham where it's like, I'd press a button and this whole thing would happen. And it's like, I didn't really do that. I just pressed the button. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, just what, like, the animations, they spent so much time on the animations that it just felt like I was button mashing and just things were happening. It didn't really feel like I had agency over everything. Like, whereas God of War, flashy things were happening, but I did every one of those flashy things. Like, I did every movement of that. Whereas Arkham and some other ones, I just felt like it just happened. And I worried about that with Spider-Man, but we will see.
We will see.
I will see what I say.
Might hear it next week. Who knows?
Maybe. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out our Nintendo Direct reactions that we did. Our Pokemon Nuzlocke. Things got very interesting in this last episode. That's all I'll say is I think this was probably the best episode so far. So even if you haven't watched the other ones, just jump in here and just watch our pain.
Yep. And stay tuned. What will potentially happen is we still need to do a way out Spoilercast at some point.
Oh yeah. We need to do that.
And it might be a couple of weeks, but stay tuned for BoJack Horseman Spoilercast for season 5.
Yes. After I get this, stay tuned for my Shadow Tomb Raider actual review. You kind of got some of that here, but I'm gonna do like a video one. Just watch it to humor me because it's my first time doing this. I just want to see if I can do it well. Sadie's trying to break in. I forgot I lost it. Whatever. Just stay tuned for all that stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.